Hi everyone, welcome to Pioneer Arizona Living History Museum. My name is Cody. Today we're going to be taking a step back in time and experiencing some territorial Arizona cooking. Today's recipe that we're going to be making is ice cream. It's the middle of summer, it's 100 degrees, we are going to be making ice cream. I know what you're thinking, they did have ice. They had ice boxes, they had ice factories. Phoenix had 2 ice factories, so you were able to keep goods cold. Today our recipe calls for just a few simple ingredients. We're going to use 2 lemons and an orange, a pint of cream, and maraschino cherries. Now I know you're thinking maraschino cherries were around and were extremely popular. Originally they were an alcoholic drink that came from Croatia. But here in the United States, the non-alcoholic version quickly outpaced in popularity, so we're going to utilize maraschino cherries today. This recipe doesn't involve any cooking. Cooking in Victorian times meant heating up a stove, and that stove heated up your entire house. So in Arizona, especially in the summer, you would avoid cooking as much as possible. So this recipe doesn't involve any of that. In addition to those recipe ingredients, we're going to need a few other things. You're going to need salt. The coarser the crystals, the better. Smaller salt crystals will melt. This salt is going to help us get our ice nice and cold. You're going to need plenty of ice, and you're going to need some way to make your ice cream. We're going to utilize this Dixie Belle period ice cream maker. Now our ice cream maker has a few simple parts. It has a canister in the middle and a bucket on the outside. We'll put the ice here. If you don't have an ice cream maker, you can make your own. Just get some sort of large tin. It could be an old coffee tin or a tea tin, any kind of metal container that you can seal on top, and then a larger container that you can stick this in, and you'll be able to make the same device yourself. Alright, so let's get started. We're going to need to juice these lemons. We're using a period juicer here. This device both juices and strains, but you'll want to strain out your juices as you go. Okay, once we get our juice, let's go ahead and set that aside for a minute. Next, we're going to want to get our cream. We're going to utilize a pint of cream, heavy cream. We can mix all those juices together. We don't want to stir it too much because we don't want that cream to start to solidify. Next, we're going to utilize our maraschino cherries. Now this whole recipe comes from the 1893 Book of Ice, which is a period cookbook devoted entirely to ice creams. This is one of the few recipes in the book that doesn't involve any cooking. Now the recipe calls for 4 wine glasses of maraschino cherry syrup. That sounds like a lot, and it would be if we used today's measurements. But wine glass refers to a quarter cup in historical cookbooks. So 4 wine glasses is 1 cup. I don't know why they didn't just say 1 cup, but that's the way the recipe is written. So let's go ahead and measure out 1 cup. We'll incorporate that in a little bit, but again, we don't want our cream to start to curdle. Alright, perfect. We're going to go ahead and set aside our mixture and bring in our ice cream maker. We're going to start to add ice all inside of here. Let's go ahead. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to get our ice and we're going to start packing it in all around the sides. And as we get each layer of ice in, we're going to want to add a layer of salt above that ice. Okay, so go ahead and take out the turning mechanism. We're canister in here. And we'll want to add our mixture that we've created so far. Right down in there. We're going to add these blades, which are going to turn our mixture. And reinsert that like so. Get our top on nice and tight. Put our mechanism back on. And it locks here on the side. Now that we got that in packed nice and tight, we're going to want to add a little bit more ice to really top it off. Alright, we're not going to turn this just yet. We're going to wait a few minutes to help let that canister get cold. You can skip this step if you put your canister in the freezer beforehand, but we're going to wait a few minutes just to let that cool down before we start turning. Alright, it's been 5 minutes now of sitting, so our canister's cold. So we're going to start cranking. We have to crank for 10 minutes, so I'll come back to you in about 10 minutes. So I went ahead and put this in a bucket here. It was leaking a little bit from the bottom. That's fine. The ice and salt aren't a part of the recipe anyway. No, this is hard work. It's a great job if you have some kids to do this for you. Alright, it's been 10 minutes now, so what we're going to do is we're going to open up our ice cream container. We want to be real careful. It's got this lovely pink color coming along. What we're going to do now is we're going to knock down the sides, which are freezing, and incorporate those into the middle. We're going to stick our lid back on and reattach our top . Put our locking mechanism back in place. Now we're going to have to crank this for another 10 minutes. We're going to do another 10 minutes after that as well. So it's going to be 3 10-minute intervals, 30 minutes total. Let's get cranking. So we already got some sort of ice cream forming. We can knock that down in. This is our second turning. We're going to knock down all the turning that's forming on the sides as well. We want to incorporate that in all together because our inside is still creamy and our outside is forming our ice cream. But you can see it's getting a good texture coming along. Yeah, a nice solid viscous form there forming. We're going to go at it another 10 minutes. We're on our final turning. Now as our ice kind of melts, we want to knock that down and incorporate more salt. The salt is going to help the ice get colder, but it will also help it melt. So we want to continuously be adding more ice. We want to knock that ice down. We're also helping mix in that salt that we sprinkle along as we do this. our final 10 minutes now. Okay. That was our last 10-minute interval. We're gonna pop it open, see what we got. Oh, moly, that looks fantastic. So, that is our ice cream. Now what you can do, we're going to take the whole canister out. So that's our ice cream. If your ice cream's not, this ice cream can look great, it's real firm. If it hasn't quite firmed up, you can leave it in the ice for a few more minutes, but I think we're ready to serve this. Alright, we're ready to taste test it. You can smell the cherry in it. You can taste the cherry too. It's real good, real simple. I hope you come and check us out at Pioneer Village here, where you can see all these great things at work.